Let's see. It says, you guys got to accept that it's being recorded and we are rocking and rolling. All right. So real quickly, I will quickly introduce ourselves. So in case anybody doesn't know us, Joshua Cross, my better 90% is Brittany. We have been in this industry for over 7 years now. Actually, January 1st of this year was 7 years. We've done, I would say, pretty well. We've made we're not quite at $1 million yet that we've earned in this industry. We're well over 500,000. I don't know the exact number, but we've done pretty well. I'm a former police officer. Brittany's a former 911 dispatcher. We have 3 kiddos. Our kids today are 17, 16, and 12. When we got into this industry, obviously they were a lot younger and they liked us more. Today, yeah, they're teenagers. So with that being said, we ultimately were able to walk away from law enforcement, become work from home parents. Our company that we first got started with ended up completely changing the compensation plan, not just like a small change, like they changed it to where we've lost 95% of our income. So they went to a single level comp plan, and which ultimately we went from making about $14,000 a month to making about $300 to $500 a month. So that really rocked our world. And when it did, it put us into a limbo phase. We had a lot of people reach out to us about a lot of things. And we looked at a lot of things over the course of 2 years, from May of 2019 until May of 2021. We tried a lot of different products. We dug into compensation plans. But you can imagine, if you built what I would consider a successful business in a network marketing industry, people are reaching out to you, right? That's just what they do. So we had a lot of opportunities to look at a lot of things and try other products and things like that. And we just couldn't get fired up about anything until May of this year. Actually, April. We got started May 1st, but it was a couple weeks before that we first started digging into Q. And when we started to, we heard about Q, and when actually somebody shared Q with me that's wasn't even in Q, that told me about Q. They just said, "Hey, have you heard of this?" And I said, "No." And I said, "Are you doing it?" They said, "No, I was just curious about your opinion on it because I know that you guys have been successful in this industry." So we started digging into it, and honestly, we were just like, we couldn't unsee what we were seeing. We were mind blown. We were mind blown by the compensation plan. We were actually excited about the products. So we ultimately, of course, got started, and we started sharing right away. And we were like praying that the products tasted good and worked. Like, we were like, "Oh my goodness, we're so fired about this compensation plan." We were sharing with everybody, and we were like, if these products aren't good and they don't work, like, we're going to be very disappointed. And obviously we are super happy with the products. And so yeah, so with that being said, we are beyond excited about where we're at here, where we're going, most importantly, where we're going, like what's to come. So just have some vision for that. So with that, I have a quick video to share as we dive into recruiting. Here we go. Share sound, and you guys should be able to hear it. Can everyone see the video? Thumbs up, yay. All right, hopefully the audio works too. I'm gonna mute myself. If you don't hear audio, it's only a 20-second video. I'll just restart it. So here we go. And that's it. That's the video. So I want you to have that visual in your mind as we talk about everything that we're about to talk about, okay? I want you to have the visual of that. And here's why. Because he hit that rock 11 times, 11, before that rock broke, right? He hit that rock 11 times. He didn't hit that rock 1 time. He didn't hit it 2 times, 3. He hit it 11 times. So was it the 11th hit that caused that rock to break? Or was it the compound effect of the 10 leading up to that 11th hit, right? Here's what I'm going to tell you. Recruiting is a process. It's not a sudden magical event. It's a long, drawn out, mundane process. And whenever we're recruiting, we can get burnt out. So with that, there's a couple things I want to preface this training with. Critics and vision, okay? So you're going to have critics. Understand that probably the most pathetic thing there is critics. You're going to have critics in anything you do. And if you don't have vision for what's to come, those critics are going to break you. They're going to break you. You're going to give up as soon as your Uncle Joe says this thing ain't going to work, right? You're gonna want to quit as soon as somebody says this is a pyramid scheme or that's snake oil or whatever it may be. You're going to hear it. The easiest thing in the world to be is a critic. But if you have some vision, really have some true vision for where you're going to go, it's going to get you through those critics. But I will tell you, having vision alone is not just going to get you there, because you need action to follow that. And so when it comes to the action, what the action is, there's really two things here. And I know that the social media training is to come, but there's fundamentals and there's techniques, okay? So a lot of people get caught up in techniques. And don't get me wrong, techniques are great. And I'm not knocking techniques, but everybody has different techniques that work for them. For example, reels on TikTok. I don't even have TikTok or whatever. I don't, those are techniques, right? Social media stuff, that's techniques. Okay. Those things are good. Those things can help you. My techniques is my techniques is like pick up the phone and call them. That's my technique. Or talk to the guy face to face that I see at the store or something like that. I'm not good at, so I'm going to tell you guys, I'll be the first to tell you I'm not great at social media. Like the social media training is going to give me a ton of value because I'm not good at it. If you look at my social media, like I'm not the most liked guy on social media. So those things are techniques though. And so, but the problem is a lot of people, techniques are great, but we have to move those techniques into the fundamentals, because if we stay at techniques, we're never going to move the ball down the court. So what I'm going to talk about today is going to be the fundamentals. Okay. I'm going to talk about the must do's, whatever your techniques are. And again, the social media training is going to be probably awesome. I have no doubt it's going to be awesome, but that's going to be techniques so that you can move into the fundamentals. And so what I'm going to talk about are the must do fundamentals here. I want to stay on track. Number one, the most important fundamental, if you get nothing else, the most important fundamental is third party credibility. Okay. Third party credibility. It's so important to always be utilizing third party credibility. Okay. Whether you first got started here, if you're just first getting started, the reason you utilize third party credibility is because you don't have credibility here, right? So I used to tell this story. Imagine like you're working on the line in the factory and you're telling your buddy, hey man, I'm starting this thing and I'm going to make a bunch of money. And you guys are both working side by side. And he looks over at you and he says, oh yeah, how's that working for you? Right? You have no credibility when you first get started. So it's so important that you take your buddy and you show him somebody who has credibility. Now, secondly, whenever you've started to develop some credibility in this business, you still use third-party credibility. Why? Because if we don't teach the new guy to do it that way from the get-go, he's going to try to be the guy in the factory who says, hey, I'm making all this money. He's going to want to do it like you did it, right? He's going to want to teach you or go out and do it the way you did it. So if you don't start out from day one utilizing third-party credibility, he won't either. or she, or she. Or should I say they? I don't know what I'm supposed to say when it comes to he's and she's these days. I'm trying to be politically correct. So that's the most important aspect to that. So always remember PEP, peak, edify, pass. All right. So peak is piquing people's interests, then edifying a leader. I'm going to be honest with you. If you don't have a leader available, edify a cross-line team member, edify someone. It doesn't, listen, here's the deal. Utilizing third-party credibility doesn't even always have to be somebody who's above. I hate using the word above because it sounds so bad, like whatever. We got people on our team that's making more than us. So when people start talking about above and below, like I'll utilize my team members as third-party credibility, but peak interest, edify someone else, and then pass the ball. You are simply the preview and they're the movie, right? Always remember that. Like the more you talk, the quicker they're going to walk. The more you talk, the quicker they walk. You don't want to be the one who's explaining everything. That just had to Google edify. Yes, what is edify? Thank you. Don't get me distracted. I'll look over here at the chat and I'll be going. Edify means promote, talk highly about, and genuinely good. Like Mel, one of the things she says on here is when she was talking about us, she said, a top producing silver leader, and that sounds all. And the reason that's so important, because if somebody like, I can't think of a name specifically of someone you wouldn't know, but if someone you didn't know who is highly successful in something walked into a room and you had no clue who they are, it'd just be another person, right? But if your friend said, look, this is the Michael Jordan of network marketing, like this is the Michael Jordan of Q Sciences, like all of a sudden your edification there is going to get them excited, and they're going to raise that person on a pedestal, and they're going to take them a lot more seriously, right? That credibility, that edification gives them credibility, but then when you get out of the way, that gives you third-party credibility. Right, so that's how that third-party credibility aspect works. And peak, edify, pass, pep. So something I want to, here we go. So something I want to talk about is our launch document. Everybody should have the launch document. It probably looks the same. Maybe it looks a little different, but same basic stuff on it. And then it also comes with this little handy page right here. This is my launch document. And on the launch document in step 2, you'll see our system. And our system starts with peak. My wife likes to spell it P-E-A-K. She wrote that on our notes. And I said, honey, it's not spelled like that. So peak, piquing people's interest. And that's through techniques, right? Things, maybe it's social media, maybe it's picking up the phone, maybe it's, I don't know. Yeah, post on Facebook, I don't know, stories, reels, whatever techniques. Then the second step is a webinar, three-way or a three-way Zoom, additional exposure. My wife is going to talk about this when she gets into the follow-up section, edification, launching people, properly launching people. That's so very important. And then repeating that process. So let's dive into, I got a couple more things to talk about before I go on. So pipeline, I want to talk about the pipeline whenever we talk about recruiting. So oftentimes I want you to imagine that there's a pipeline on the side of a mountain, and that pipeline is 50 feet long, right? And you take a cup of water and you go up to the top of that pipeline and you dump 1 glass of water in it, and you run down to the, or let's say 50 miles long. You run down to the bottom, if you could, run down to the bottom of that pipeline real quickly. There's probably not going to be any water coming out the bottom of that pipeline, right? But if you start dumping a whole ton buckets and buckets and buckets and buckets and buckets of water into the top of that pipeline, it's going to take some time for it to get down there, but eventually the water is going to start flowing out of the bottom of that pipeline. And so as you're doing the things that I'm going to talk about tonight, remember there is a pipeline effect. There is some lag time. There is a 30, 60, 90-day lag time. And if you talk to one person or do this with one person or hit the rock just one time, then you can't expect to see that pipeline flooding out if you're not dumping into the pipeline. And here's the other side of that. If you stop dumping into the pipeline, you may still have some trickling out, but eventually that's going to stop trickling out, right? And then one more thing before I dive into the exact how I do it. Lottery ticket versus investment account. Okay. Too often people get a they think they bought a lottery ticket when they get started here. They say, you know, I signed up in Q, you know, they think they just went out and purchased a lottery ticket. And what they do with that lottery ticket is it's a scratch off. So their first like 5 people that they talk to is basically like the scratch off. And they talk to person number 1, and that's, oh, that one I didn't win. And then person number 2, oh, no, didn't win on that one. Person number 3, nope, it's okay, I got 2 more. Person number 4, oh, I don't know if this thing's gonna work for me. Person number 5, no, they all said no. This lottery ticket's a dud. This thing ain't gonna work. So what do? They throw it away, but before they throw it away, they tear it up. They tear up the lottery ticket. They say, that thing's a scam. I tried something just like that. It doesn't work, because they had a lottery mentality. They didn't have an investment account mentality. So when we put into our investment account, nobody expects to put $20 into their investment account and then tomorrow it be $2 million. If you expected that, you just wouldn't expect that. We expect that with the lottery, but with the investment account, we say, you know what? Every single week, I'm going to put $20 into it. And I'm going to do that consistently over and over and over. And what happens is that investment begins to grow, and then interest starts to set in, and it begins to compound and grow. And next thing you know, it's this massive investment, right? So these are all the things, really the mindset I want you guys to have as I dive into the fundamentals. I'm getting there. All right. So here's my, once I get to past the technique and to the fundamentals, this is how I approach it. So if let's say I'm sending someone a message, for example, let's say I made a post on social media about I lost 10 pounds, right? Or something like that. And I have someone who says, and that's a technique, remember, I'm just utilizing an example so I can move into the fundamental. And I say, I lost 10 pounds. They're like, what are you doing? I'll shoot you a message. I'm going to send them a message, and I'm going to say this, and I want you guys to write this down. There's a couple phrases I want you guys to write down because it's so important that you know these things. Number 1, even if somebody asks me about products, I ask them this question right here. Even if they only ask me about products, I ask them this question. Are you interested in just products, or would you like to know about the compensation plan as well? I always ask that question. Even if someone just asked me about products, are you interested in just products, or would you like to know about the compensation plan as well? And the reason I ask that is because about 50% of the time people say, you know what? I'd like to know about that compensation plan as well. Even if they just asked me about products. Now, obviously, if they ask me about compensation plan or approach them about compensation plan, then they're interested in compensation plan. But about 50% of the time, they'll say, you know what? I would like to know about both. And when they say that, my response in turn is, great. Do you have, if they say, let's say they say, I can't look at chat. I'll get distracted. If there's something I need to let me know. If they say, yes, I'm interested in both, then my response is, awesome. Do you have 16 minutes to watch a couple quick YouTube videos? And when they say yes, now I'm also going to talk about another aspect here. So, but when if they say yes, then I say, awesome. If they say no, I say, let's chat whenever you do have the time, because I don't want them to, I'm not giving them nothing unless they're willing to look at what I got. Okay. And if they say, oh, just send it to me and I'll check it out later, I say, no, no, no. I say, this is too good to get lost in chat. Let's chat when you do have the time to take a look at it. And so with that being said, I then respond, I'm going to send you a quick 8-minute YouTube video that explains the compensation plan. Message me as soon as you're done watching it. And then if I'm on Facebook, I love doing this on social media, because if I'm on Facebook, I watch for their bubble to drop down. If their bubble doesn't drop down, I ain't sending the video. Why? Because I'm making sure we're engaged, right? So I'm watching for their bubble to drop down. And then sometimes if the bubble didn't drop down, I'm just like, heck with it. I'm not sending it. I'll give it a few seconds. If it ain't dropping down to where I see they saw my message, I'm not sending it. And then they'll be like, hey, was you going to send the video? Oh, sorry, got distracted. Are you good to watch it now? And then I watch for the bubble again. And then as soon as it drops down, I send them the video, right? And the video I often utilize is for a compensation plan. Francesca, she did a great, Fran does she has a YouTube video that explains the compensation plan. It's like 8 or 9 minutes long. I utilize that. And then and I always lead with business. So that's why I always lead with the compensation plan. But then the next thing I'll say to a person is after they get back to me, or if it's been about 10 or 15 minutes, I say, hey, did you get done watching that? But then the next thing I say to them is, hey, I'm going to send you another quick YouTube video. Do you got about 8 more minutes to watch it? It's about the products. It'll explain products. So yes, same process. So then from there, so what I've done is I piqued their interest with those 2 things, right? From there, I'm not going to be the one explaining to them. I'm going to let the videos explain to them. From there, my goal is to move them into a webinar with Brandon, put Brandon on, put Mel on, put someone on. So here's my question that I always ask after everything. After I send somebody a video, after a Zoom, after everything. And this is the other one I really want you to write down, because this one will help you so much. I say, are you wanting more information, or are you ready to get started right now? Are you wanting more information, or are you ready to get started right now? I've literally had people say, I'm ready to get started right now, which I'm like, oh, great. And then we're going to go into the launch process, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But usually they'll say, hey, I'm wanting more information. Well, great. We have a live Zoom tomorrow night at, whatever it may be. Another thing I'll do, if I'm wanting to move into a one-on-one, like say introduce them to Brandon, I will, in this meantime, hey, what do you got available the next couple of days? Reach out to Brandon. And then I always give 2 options for that. I always give 2 options. And the reason I do that is so I can ask them a direct question. I don't have to say, is that okay with you? Remember, I'm leading and I'm not asking them to follow. I'm leading and I'm not asking them to follow. So I'm going to say, so, hey, look, can you hop on? Or I say, I got a Zoom at Friday at 7 or Sunday at 1. Which one works better for you? Which one can you hop on? I don't ask them, are those okay? I just give them 2 options and say, which one works better for you? And the reason I do that is because otherwise it'll keep it in limbo phase. And, and you'll forever be chasing them. But if you give them some direct, like if you lead the business, people, especially in this, keep in mind, people don't know what they don't know, right? So you need to lead them to, I think Glenn just dropped the videos. You need to lead them to that next meeting. So with that, if you are someone who is more comfortable not, if you are someone who is more comfortable not sending people those a couple of videos, one about product, one about compensation plan, go back to the PEP, Peak, Edify, Pass. Okay. So if you're someone who's just more comfortable with, you know what, I don't want to do any of that, then your ultimate goal right away is to move straight into third-party credibility. Straight into, so when someone has interest, hey, I'm gonna send you a message. You send them a private message. Hey, look, I'm new to this. I'm super excited about what I have my hands on. I'm working with one of the top earners in this entire industry. I have become friends with them. They're absolutely amazing. I'm getting to know them personally, but I'm new, so I don't know all the answers, but here's what we're going to do next. Write that down. Here's what we are going to do next. Again, don't ask them if it's okay. Tell them what we are going to do. Here's what we are going to do next. I call that the 8 magic words. So here's what we're going to do next. I'm going to introduce you to my friend Mel. She's the one I'm working with. She's made literally millions of dollars here, literally. And she's going to answer your questions. She's awesome. You'll absolutely love her. We have this time available and this time available. Which one works for you, right? So is this making sense? Hopefully we're doing well here. I know I'm dumping a ton on you guys. I've tried to package this because recruiting is such a, I mean, it's a process. And with this process, my wife will talk about follow-up, but as you see on the launch document, it says right here, additional exposure if needed. Why? Because most of the time it's 7 to 12 exposures before someone says yes. You got to hit that rock 11 times. Did it crack because of 11th hit? No, it cracked because of all 10 of them and then the 11th one, right? So that's why it cracked. Yes, please do.
One other thing I was gonna say is, if you're not comfortable as far as like just getting them straight on a Zoom, like getting those times like set up with somebody right away, you can, or if they're not comfortable jumping on a Zoom just quite yet, getting them in a three-way group chat on Messenger or Instagram or however you guys are communicating. I've had great success with that. People are very comfortable typing, right? And so they get to get used to those people. Also, if it's on Facebook, they can Facebook stalk Mel or whoever it is. They realize that she's a real person. They feel more comfortable jumping on a Zoom and being able to build that relationship.
She's awesome. She's 100% right. Keep in mind, those things are absolutely right. Yeah, and so sometimes you're going to have to sway with those techniques. What works for you? Which technique? But at the end of the day, the fundamental is every single person that you, the fundamentals are every single person that you sign up has to be connected. They have to be connected. And here's the deal. You want to connect them to as many, think of it as pillars, okay? For every time you give somebody a connection, you're giving them a pillar. I wish I could draw it out right now. So I want you to imagine a plate, right? I'm like balancing a plate on a saucer on here, and that's the connection to me. But then I put another one. That's the connection to Mel, and then I put another one, and that's the connection to Brandon. And if life happens to me, that plate's still up, right? But if the only connection they have is just me and life happens to me, right? So we want to give them as many connections, as many pillars to give them support as we possibly can. So that is just absolutely fundamental that we do that. I think, did I cover everything there?
took my notes.
Oh, I took her notes. Should I talk about the other?
You can
Go
talk
ahead.
about that if you want.
Or do you want to dive into follow-up?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, dive into follow-up and I'll talk about that afterwards.
Okay.
Now you get the cuter,
I can't-
smarter.
I can't even
Oh,
move my
that's-
chair.
I got you up.
I feel like you guys won't be able to hear me. I don't talk as loud as Josh does, so and I'm not as explosive either. So I just wanted to talk real quick about follow-up. Like Josh said, it usually the very first time somebody hears something, they're not going to say yes. And so if your hope is on that, you need to like get rid of that. Usually people take multiple exposures. I know Glenn's on here. Like Glenn has been in network marketing forever. He's a beast at network marketing. But when he was introduced to Q the first time, he blew it off. It took him a couple exposures before he said yes, and he knew what he was looking for. So everybody's going to be like that. And so don't think that just because the first time you reached out to somebody and they said no, that's actually a no forever. Okay. And then as far as like, so keeping track, don't leave it to your memory. Find some system that works for you as far as follow-up goes, because you're going to be reaching out to a lot of people. You're not just reaching out to one person a week or something like that. When you get started, you're going to have this massive list that we're going to help you write, or you already have one and you need to be adding names to that list all the time. And so making sure that you have some type of system that goes with those follow-ups so you don't forget people, because you have life going on, they have life going on, all those different things. And the worst thing you can do is forget about somebody that said, hey, get back with me on Thursday. And then Thursday comes and goes and you didn't reach back out to them and you had said you would. That loses credibility with you. So definitely try to find a system that works for you. I use reminders in my phone because my phone goes with me everywhere. I don't spend a day without my phone. I don't know about you guys, but I might not have my notebook with me, but I will always have my phone. And so as far as, let's see what else, you covered some of the stuff. So, so follow-ups, when it comes to, if you have somebody engaged, right, your follow-ups are going to come natural. You're going to know what follow-ups to do. You're going to know that, you know, if they've already talked to Mel and they're still wanting more information, giving them another webinar or Zoom to plug into, those type of things. But so if it's a follow-up on somebody that has said, no, you know, I'm not interested, or it's not for me right now, my life's too busy. I get that one all the time, right? I mean, every mom's life's too busy. But in all reality, every mom needs this. So you can't not follow up with them. So you have to find ways to follow up. Holidays, birthdays are always great. You always want to be able to do those things. I send everybody happy birthdays. I always tell people Merry Christmas, you know, Happy Thanksgiving, all the different ways that I can follow up. Also, you know, when they say it's not for them right now, promotions, reaching out with promotions, reaching out with the new compensation plan that's going to be coming in February, right? Those things, all those people on your list, that's a new way to follow up with them, because something new and exciting could pique their interest and then want to get started now, right? Also, for those that have told you no, or it's not right now, still do life, right? So if your best friend or your mom or whoever, right, tells you, oh no, I'm not doing that Q Science thing, that doesn't mean you don't do life with them. You don't ignore those people. You have to continue to do life because they're still watching. Those exposures are still happening. You have to still drink your sport in front of them. You know, you have to be, they're going to watch your life to see if you're continuing to do this, because maybe they have scar tissue they're not sharing with you, all those things. So be mindful of the fact that you're basically always following up those people that you're super close to, because they're always watching you, because they want to know if this is something they can do, if you're doing it. Another thing, don't make it weird. So this is the biggest thing. I have so many people that will do messages like all over, like Facebook, all that stuff, right? You'll message people and then they'll see them in the grocery store, the person they messaged, and they ignore them. Like, that's weird. Like, if you're going to message somebody on Facebook or wherever, you're going to call them and then you're going to see them out. Like, if they ignored your message, or if they told you no, you still have to talk to them in the grocery store. You still have to go to the birthday parties. You still have to do all of those things. You have to realize that 99% of the time, they're really not telling you no, they're telling their fears no. And so they're worried inside about things, and it's not really anything against you at all. And I'll say, you probably have stuff to say, I don't know. But oh, one other thing I'm gonna say, because we've had this happen a couple of times in the years. And so if you reach out to someone and they ignore you, or they say, oh no, that's not for me right now, and then you never follow up with that person again, and then you see like 3 months later, 4 months later, that they signed up in queue, you cannot be mad that they signed up with someone else if you didn't do your job in following up with them. That's on you.
She's awesome.
No, I'm not.
She's awesome. Yeah, awesome. Sweet. So there's only a couple more things we have. So I'm going to be very real with you guys. If you're going to grow a notable business here, okay, if you're going to grow a notable business here, you're going to have to grow this. You're going to have to grow between your ears. You're going to have to grow as a person, as a leader, if you're going to grow a notable business here. Because as you grow, you'll attract more people, you'll attract higher caliber of people and so many things. So with that, I have a few book recommendations. And I actually am going to add to this fun. So number one is Atomic Habits by James Clear. Okay. Atomic Habits by James Clear. Number two, actually, I'll save this one for last because you guys should like the name of this one. The next three are all by the same person, Joshua Medcalf. I actually know Joshua Michael Medcalf personally, and I love his writings. One is called Hustle by Joshua Medcalf. One is called Chop Wood, Carry Water by Joshua Medcalf. Oh yeah, this one like you can read in like a few hours. Probably not even that.
Our kids have read all the Joshua Medcalf.
Our kids have read all these. And then the last one, so to sum up the night and how I started, is called Pound the Stone by Joshua Medcalf. So if you guys got all these written down, so here's what I'm going to do for you. We're going to have some fun.
I'll post a picture too.
Yeah. Yeah. So for anyone on February 1st, for every single one of these books that any of you get or have already, you might already have them. You can have one for each one you have, though. If you take a selfie with it and then tag Brittany and I on Facebook in that picture, for each book you have, we're going to enter you into a drawing. So if you have all four, you get your name entered 4 times. If you got one, you get your name entered once.
Heather has something.
I love it. So for each one, we're going to enter you into a drawing. We're going to give $50 away to somebody. So somebody's going to get $50 from that drawing. We just thought we'd have some fun with it. On February 1st, we'll do that drawing. So everybody who's tagged us between now and then in a picture, I love personal growth. Also, you're going to get a ton out of those books. That's really going to teach you a lot about we can do ebooks. Just let's be sure that we got some integrity about it, and we're Audible. You can hold up a picture of it. So it's all about having fun and really encouraging and growing. Right? I was not a reader before we started in this business, and I was a liar because I would read hours on Facebook, but then I said I wasn't a reader. How goofy is that? But yeah, so then the thing in closing, I'm going to leave us with is one of my favorite videos. Let me see if I can open it up. There we go. One of my favorite videos I'm going to close this with. And does anybody have any questions before I close this out? Any questions? Did I miss any questions in the chat? Tag, we're on just us. You can add us as a friend on Facebook and just tag us.
Instagram. I'm on Instagram.
Yeah, Brittany's on Instagram. I guess I'm on Instagram too, but I'm not. Guys, I'm telling you, when people say, like, I'm excited for the social media training because I'm not good at that stuff. Like, my technique is like pick up my buddy. Hey, bro, you got a minute to talk? You got to hear about what I got my hands on. Like, that's how I roll. That is literally how I roll. Yeah, Joshua, Brittany Cross. Yep, third. Pound the Stone. Yeah, we had Chopwood, Carry Water, Hustle, Pound the Stone, all by Joshua Michael Metcalf, and then Atomic Habits by James Clear. Awesome. I think we're rocking and rolling. Who was the first? Look, Atomic Habits by James Clear. Oh, people with traditional business. Yeah, so somebody just said, how do you approach, Peter said, how do you approach people with traditional business? Business owners are the best. Business owners are usually already have a business mindset. So you can approach them and they're also not as, they're not as like they're not as like skeptical. I like business owners because they understand, like, hey, I got to invest. Like, there's an upfront investment. There's a huge upfront investment. So approaching a business owner, I approach them. I say, hey, look, man, I'm working with my buddy. He's a highly successful businessman, highly successful entrepreneur, literally a millionaire. He's done very well in business. I want to connect you and you take a look at this project I'm working on. So that's very super simple. What is your Instagram name?
Brittany Cross.
Brittany Cross.
Let me look it up, make sure. I don't want to tell you wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's just my name.
All right. I think we're rocking and rolling. Okay, so Brittany's going to check that real quick.
Yeah, it's just Brittany Cross.
Brittany Cross. BRITTNEY.
Oh, 85.
NEY, not ANY. NEY. But yeah, Cross.
85.
Found it. Yep.
Yeah.
All the books. Oh, that is awesome. You guys are awesome. I love when you have Hunger for Wisdom. Another great book. I can give you books all day. Heart of Leadership. Heart stands for Hunger for Wisdom. H. E is expect the best. A is accept responsibility. R is respond with courage. And T is think others first. So that's the heart of leadership. H is hunger for wisdom. So when you have a hunger for wisdom, like, you can't be stopped. So I love everybody who's like, I'm reading this, because when you do, all right. So I'll quit rambling. So time's up. 45 minutes. Here we go. So this is one of my favorite videos when we first got started in this industry. I'm just going to give you a clip of it. It's about 15 minutes long. But I'm going to give you, when we first got started in this industry, literally every day while I was getting ready for work, I would play this video. I would, in the shower, I would put my phone, I would pull up the YouTube video of it, and I would let it play as I just listened to it, because I wanted what he's saying to be in my head. And so I'm going to share a small clip, and you guys look it up. You may have already heard of it, but look it up. Oh, host disabled. Am I not the host anymore? Says host has disabled. I think that you're the host. Mel, can I have host back, please? She's like, oh man. Or co-host, either one will do.
Just need to share screen.
Yep, just so I can share my screen. I love it. So yeah, sometimes we need to, and this was the same video over and over and over again. There we go. It was the same video over and over and over again. I would listen to it every single day, but I think it brings so much value. And you really have to have this mindset. So here we go, guys. Can everybody see that?
Let us know if we can't hear it.
Yeah, let me know if you can't hear. You should be.
So if you want to make 6 figures, you can't just be talking about you want to make 6 figures. You hear what I'm saying to you tonight? If you do the 3 things I tell you to do tonight, I guarantee you, whatever it is you want to do in life, you'll be able to do. You will be able to accomplish whatever you want to academically, financially, relationally, whatever. So 3 things. All right, I'm going to tell you the story. I got to get out of here. And the story is about, you guys have probably heard about this before. It was a young man who, he wanted to make a lot of money, and so he went to this guru, right? And he told the guru, I want to be on the same level you on. And so the guru said, if you want to be on the same level I'm on, I'll meet you tomorrow at the beach at 4 a.m. He like, the beach? I said, I want to make money. I don't want to swim. Guru said, if you want to make money, I'll meet you tomorrow, 4 a.m. So the young man got there at 4 a.m. He all ready to rock and roll, got on the suit, should have wore shorts. The old man grabs his hand and said, how bad do you want to be successful? He said, real bad. He said, walk on out in the water. So he walks out into the water. Watch this. When he walks out into the water, it goes waist deep. So he like, this guy crazy. Adrian, like, I want to make money. He got me out here swimming. I didn't ask to be a lifeguard. I want to make money. He got me in. So he said, come out a little further. Walked out a little further. Then he had it right around this area, the shoulder area. So this old man crazy. He making money, but he crazy. Said, come on out a little further. Came out a little further. It was right at his mouth. My man like, I'm about to go back in here. This God is mine. So the old man said, I thought you said you wanted to be successful. He said, I do. He said, walk a little further. He came, dropped his head in, held him down, hold him down. My man getting scratching, holding him down. I got you. I know you brushed it out, but I got you. He had him held down. I need you for an illustration. He had him held down. Just before my man was about to pass out, he raised him up. He said, I got a question for you. Somebody answer the question for me. He said, when you were underwater, what did you want to do? Lee, I'm looking for a different word though than lip. What's that word? He said, I wanted to breathe. He told the guy, he said, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. I don't know how many of y'all got asthma in here today, but if you ever had an asthma attack before, you short of breath, SOB, shortness of breath, you wheezing. The only thing you trying to do is get some air. You don't care about no basketball game. You don't care what's on TV. You don't care about nobody calling you. You don't care about a party. The only thing you care about when you're trying to breathe is to get some fresh air. That's it. And when you get to the point where all you want to do is be successful as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful.
And that's it. So you guys can find the rest of that. That's called Secrets to Success by Eric Thomas. I recommend listening to the whole thing like every single day. I attribute a lot of our success to that because I got that in my head every single day. And I said, you know what? I got to do this. I have to win today, every single day, compounded consistently over time. And if you'll take the things that you learn through this boot camp and apply them every single day, there's no reason that every single one of us aren't going to have astronomical success. I believe in each and every one of you. I cannot wait to see your names on the top of the leaderboards. I cannot wait to see your names on ranks. I cannot wait to see your trainings, and I cannot wait to see you soar. We'll see you at the top. Have a great night, guys. Bye.